Hello everyone, welcome to Making Moves with Mac, presented by FanDuel. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd. Yesterday's first show, we did not get off to the winning start we were looking for, but we got FanDuel right where we want, and we're going to come out swinging today. We got a jam-packed show, including talking MLB division odds. We're going to give Peter Dewey a call again today. We're going to talk NFL awards markets, and of course, we will have my best bets for tonight. Let's get into it. All right, we're going to jump right into it, starting with the NFL Top 100, which if you have not been following along, and if you want to get upset, if you want to get frustrated as a fan of your team, go ahead and check out the NFL Top 100, because you will see the top 100 players ranked by the NFL, or by the NFL players, and I guarantee you will get frustrated at how low your favorite players are ranked. But the final top 10 was released recently. Saquon Barkley, to no real surprise, I actually don't have a ton of issues with the top 10 players listed on this list, but Saquon Barkley is ranked by his peers as the best player in the NFL this season. But if you take a look at his MVP odds, 60-1 still to win the MVP. And I think we all know at this point, watching and following the NFL over the past decade plus, the MVP award has largely become a best quarterback award. That is why he's 60-1 to win MVP, but he's the favorite to go back-to-back as the Offensive Player of the Year, plus 650 to win that award. Number 2 player on the list, funny enough, was Lamar Jackson, who did not win MVP last year. He was the MVP runner-up. He was the number 2 ranked player in the NFL, as voted on by his fellow players. Josh Allen, the reigning MVP, was the number 3 ranked player, and as you probably expect, those 2 players are on the top 2 for the MVP odds as well. Lamar Jackson, slight edge, plus 490. Josh Allen, 5-1. The top-ranked defensive player on the list, not actually the reigning defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain. It's Myles Garrett, who is the top-ranked defensive player, coming in at number 8 overall. He is the favorite to win, actually second on the odds list to win defensive player of the year at plus 850. You might be surprised, but might not be surprised to find out who the favorite is. We're going to touch on that a little bit later when we go through the awards. But we're going to switch sports. We're going over to Major League Baseball. Most awards races at this point in the baseball season have been basically decided, but there's still one race that is close, and that is for the National League Rookie of the Year. Drake Baldwin of the Atlanta Braves is the favorite right now at minus 110, for good reason. 284 batting average, 821 OPS. He has a WAR, which, if you aren't familiar, wins above replacement of 2.6. But close behind him, Cade Horton, who actually gets the start for the Chicago Cubs tonight. 9-4 record as a pitcher, 2.92 ERA as a rookie, unbelievable. 1.186 WHIP, which is walks and hits per innings pitched. Third on the odds list, not out of the race yet, but it's a little bit of a distant third option here. Isaac Collins, who has a 276 batting average, 799 OPS, and a 2.7 WAR. So not quite at the numbers of Drake Baldwin, so you can see why Baldwin is the betting favorite there. I think what you have to do if you're going to bet on National League Rookie of the Year, I actually think Cade Horton at plus 160 is the way to go, because he pitches for the Cubs, and the Cubs are still very much in the playoff race. They're in a playoff spot right now. He's going to be in more important games down the stretch, games that a national audience is going to be tuned into. Whereas Drake Baldwin of the Braves, obviously the Braves, unfortunately, completely out of the playoff picture at this point. So he's not going to be in as many key spots in the final month of the season as Cade Horton will be. And he does, as I mentioned earlier, get the start tonight for the Cubs. Actually against the Braves, I believe. So that's actually going to be a big game. I would bet that sooner rather than later, because if he has another great start tonight against Atlanta, I wouldn't be surprised if these odds are closer come tomorrow morning. I said earlier the awards races are mostly decided, and that includes the AL Rookie of the Year. Nick Kurtz, minus 20,000 of the Athletics to win Rookie of the Year. 308 batting average, 1033 OPS, 4.7 WAR for the rookie with the Athletics. So yeah, he has that award already basically locked up at this point.
Is there anyone going in on that minus 20,000? I love when you see those like people that just like putting $100,000 to win 5.
There are some pro bettors out there who that's their betting strategy, is to lay big money on massive favorites. But the issue with that is you lose one out of every like 50 times you make that pick, and you lost all your progress. So you bet $5 on that, you get back like a penny. So not much. So I'm not going to recommend putting a bet on Nick Kurtz at minus 20,000. Let's talk college football because after the first week is over, we have seen some significant odds changes when it comes to odds to make the college football playoff. 12-team playoff now in 2025. And we've seen some big names fall off because there were so many big games in the first week. A lot of ranked versus ranked games. Probably the biggest drop off was the Alabama Crimson Tide. People are not happy with how Alabama's season opener has gone. Lost to unranked Florida State to the Seminoles. They were minus 184 to make the college football playoffs before the season started. That has dropped down to plus 184 to make the college football playoff. So from significant favorites to significant underdogs, if they can't beat unranked Florida State, Alabama's going to have a tough time competing in the SEC this season. Notre Dame, another team whose odds fell off after losing to Miami, minus 210 down to minus 110. They are now basically a coin flip to make the college football playoff. Clemson falls after losing to LSU. That was a big game for them again against an SEC opponent. Their odds have dropped from minus 164 to minus 120. Still, a lot of people think Clemson is the team to beat in the ACC. If they win the ACC, this week one loss to LSU will mean nothing. So that's why their odds haven't fallen off too much. Miami, as I mentioned earlier, defeated Notre Dame in that upset, looked extremely impressive, jumped from plus 194 to now being favored to make the college football playoff at minus 118. That game against Notre Dame, extremely important once we get to the college football playoff in a few months. And LSU, by beating Clemson, their odds have jumped from plus 134 to minus 194. And of course, now their quarterback, as I talked about yesterday, is the Heisman Trophy betting favorite. So that's all it takes, 1 week, and you can see some significant shakeup in the odds to make the college football playoff. We're not going to see the same level of shakeup this week because I don't know if you guys have looked at the schedule for college football this week. A lot of really good teams against a lot of really bad teams. Not going to be a ton of unpredictable outcomes this week. All these teams that played ranked teams in week 1 are playing a bunch of bums in week 2. So it should be pretty status quo when we revisit this next week. All right, let's wrap up the headlines of the day. Taking a look at the latest divisional odds in Major League Baseball, starting with the tightest race, unfortunately, which is the AL East, featuring my Toronto Blue Jays, who are coming into today's action minus 170 favorites to win the AL East, but only a 2.5 game lead over the Yankees and the Red Sox, and I get stressed out every single night. The Blue Jays have gone from being a fun team to watch to being a stressful team to watch. And yeah, they haven't played the best baseball lately, but they're not getting helped by the Yankees and Red Sox, who just refuse to lose. I think the Yankees are 8-1 in their last 9 games. Red Sox like 12-3 in their last 15. Like typically, the teams chasing the division leader lose a few games. Yankees and Red Sox just refuse to lose, which makes every single night feel like a must-win game for the Blue Jays. And their bullpen, as I talked about yesterday, is disastrous. And yes, they won last night, but they won, 11-8, I think it was. Not good for me watching it. I get a little stressed out. But as of now, the Jays are still favorites, minus 165 to win the AL East with a 2.5 game lead on both the Yankees and the Red Sox. The AL West is a little bit of a close race here as well. The Astros at minus 210 over the Seattle Mariners, who are coming in at 2-1. Only a couple games separate those two teams. Texas Rangers still technically alive on the odds list at 12-1. But I think at the end of the day, this is the Astros division to lose, especially based on how the Mariners offense has not played as well in the second half of the season as they did in the first half. NL East is basically completely wrapped up at this point. The Phillies minus 1,500 favorites to win the NL East. The Mets looked like they had a chance to kind of catch them there when they swept them in a 4-game series about a week or two ago. But things have not gone the Mets' way since then. The Phillies have found their momentum, so they have retaken a pretty substantial lead there, especially on the odds list at minus 1,500. NL Central, the Brewers minus 1,000 favorites against the Cubs. The Cubs coming in at 6-1. As I mentioned earlier, Cubs are still in the race. So it'll be a big game tonight with Cade Horton, the guy who's second on the odds list to win NL Rookie of the Year when he takes the mound tonight against the Braves. And then finally, the NL West. This all season long has been the Dodgers' division to lose. They were massive favorites heading into the season. They're minus 500 right now. The Padres plus 370. I think the Dodgers have a 2.5 game lead on the division. Things got close. I think it was even tied up last week or the week before when the Padres beat the Dodgers in the first game of their most recent series, but the Dodgers have retaken that lead by 2.5 games. So those are the favorites. As I said earlier, the closest race is unfortunately the AL East with my Toronto Blue Jays, but we will see the division leaders probably separate here in the final month of the season. Let's move on now to the National Football League, and we're going to take a look at the awards markets with the season starting tomorrow night. Let's quickly go through each award and take a look at the favorites and maybe some picks that I like, because if you want to bet on these, it's time to place those bets with the season starting tomorrow night. So we're going to start with the top award, obviously, NFL MVP, Josh Allen as the defending MVP, and I mentioned this earlier. Lamar Jackson, though, is the favorite this year, plus 490. Josh Allen right behind him at 5-1. It's the usual suspects at the top of the odds board. Mahomes 6-1, Joe Burrow 6-1, Jaden Daniels 10-1, and then you have a little bit of a drop off there. I think the biggest thing that you have to keep in mind when looking at the MVP market is voter fatigue. We've seen this now happen not only in the NFL, we're seeing it in the NBA too, where voters just don't really want the same guys winning MVP every single year. In the NBA, it's Nikola Jokic, and we saw it last year because, to be honest, Lamar Jackson probably deserved MVP last year, but it seemed like the voters gave the nod to Josh Allen because Lamar Jackson had won it twice, because he had won it the year before. Don't forget, Lamar Jackson was named first team All-Pro last season. I think it was the first time in a long time that the quarterback who was named first team All-Pro did not go on to win NFL MVP. So with that in mind, you look at the top of the odds board, Joe Burrow, of those top names, is the only guy who hasn't won it yet. And last year, people thought if he was able to drag the Bengals to the playoffs that he was going to get the nod to be named NFL MVP. So at Joe Burrow, 6-1, the only guy of the top 4 quarterbacks who hasn't won it before. They're probably not going to go Allen in back-to-back years because he won it last year. They might not go back to Lamar Jackson. So of those top options, you got to give Joe Burrow a look at 6-1. Then there's the Offensive Player of the Year award, which has basically just become the best non-quarterback award, which is why Saquon Barkley is favored in that spot. But you have to be a little concerned. Maybe there's an Offensive Player of the Year curse, because 2 years ago, Christian McCaffrey won it. And then last year, obviously, he had a season from hell with injuries. So maybe you don't go Saquon Barkley, and maybe even just stay away from, the top couple of favorites on the board anyways, because this award is kind of wide open. There are so many players who can win this, running backs, receivers, that maybe the value isn't on Saquon at plus 650. Maybe it's not even on Jamar Chase, the second option at 8-1, or Justin Jefferson at 12-1. You got some good names down the list. Jahmyr Gibbs, 13-1, Derrick Henry, 14-1, my guy, Bijan Robinson at 14-1. If you're looking at running backs, I'd probably stick to guys who are dual threat guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's why maybe Bijan is an interesting choice. Christian McCaffrey back healthy this year at 15-1. But there are plenty of names on this list. One that sticks out to me a little bit further down the odds list, Brian Thomas at 35-1, a guy who came out on the scene last year as a rookie for the Jaguars, already one of the top receivers in the league. If Trevor Lawrence can be healthy this year and take a step forward with his production, that's only going to help a guy like Brian Thomas. So he could be interesting at 35-1. Defensive Player of the Year. The betting favorite is a guy who has not won it before, but a guy who will be wearing a new jersey this season. Micah Parsons of the Green Bay Packers is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year at 5-1. His first 3 seasons in the NFL, he finished in the top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting, has not yet won it yet. I think he finished like 5th or 6th last year, but he missed a handful of games with the Cowboys. Now he's in Green Bay, and he's a pretty significant favorite to win that award. But my pick is actually the guy right below him, Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions, plus 750. He had, I believe, his 7.5 sacks last season through the first 5 weeks, and then he went down with a season-ending injury. He was starting to become a runaway favorite to win the award last season before getting hurt. So if he's healthy this year, and all reports indicate that he is, and he's able to replicate the level of production he had early in the year last year, you have to like Aiden Hutchinson at plus 750 to win that award. I think Parsons is a little overvalued at 5-1. You also consider, Trey Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks last season, pretty far down this odds list to be 33-1 for last year's sack leader. That's interesting as well. A lot of people were concerned he wasn't going to play for the Bengals this year, but he signed a bit of an extension, or at least a salary boost. So he's back on the field for the Bengals. 33-1 to bet on last year's sack leader seems like a pretty good bet to me as well. Coach of the year, we're going to take a look at Ben Johnson, who is the betting favorite. This is always a weird award, in my opinion, because if you look at actually the guys with the longest odds are actually probably the best coaches. I think the two coaches with the longest odds are Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni. It seems like the coach of the year has now become an award that is goes to the coach that can take a bad team and then drag them to the playoffs, which is why at the top of the odds list, you see Ben Johnson, who's a rookie head coach, taking over for the Chicago Bears, a team with a ton of talent that can make it to the playoffs if he's able to do a good job there in Chicago. Then you have Mike Vrabel, his first year with the Patriots at plus 750. Liam Cohen, 10-1 for the Jaguars. All the guys on the top of this odds list are guys in their first year with their new teams. I think you have to kind of take a look at Mike Vrabel. He's already won this award once before. Drake May in his second year. The Patriots are a popular team for a lot of sharp bettors to take a step forward and potentially make the playoffs. So I'm not yet a believer in Caleb Williams, so I'm going to stay away from Ben Johnson there with the Bears. I think Mike Vrabel plus 750 with the Patriots is the way to go there. Then we got the offensive rookie of the year market. Ashton Genty is the betting favorite at plus 250, one of the most hyped running back prospects we've seen come into the NFL in a number of years, probably since Bijan Robinson for the Falcons. So he is the favorite at plus 250 with the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think you just have to kind of go with the number one overall pick, Cam Ward, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. I don't know if I've ever seen a number one overall pick who's a quarterback come into a season with less hype than Cam Ward. It is strange to me because when you listen to the reports coming out of Tennessee, it's nothing but glowing reviews about Cam Ward, his leadership, his play on the field. He looked great in the preseason. Usually the number one overall pick being a quarterback, that guy would be a runaway favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, an award that does typically go to quarterbacks, but he's second on the odds list at 3-1. I think he's a no-brainer there. Ashton Genty, is he generational talent? We'll see. Obviously had a fantastic college football career with Boise State. But when it comes to a running back, you need the offensive line in front of you to be able to open up those holes as well. And I don't know if the Raiders have that, if they're going to be able to open up the holes for Ashton Genty. So I like Cam Ward as the Offensive Rookie of the Year at 3-1. Rookie of the Year, it's obviously a split award. We have an Offensive Rookie of the Year. We also have a Defensive Rookie of the Year. The betting favorite is the player who was looked at by most people as the top defensive player in the draft, who went to the Giants. It is Abdul Carter at plus 185, but this is one awards market I would certainly not bet the favorite. We saw Jared Verse win it last year, who wasn't close to the top of the odds list. I'm shocked to see Abdul Carter is this big of a favorite. I mean, he's plus 185. The next player on the odds list is my Atlanta Falcon, Jalen Walker, plus 950. That's a huge gap between the betting favorite to win an award and the second guy on the odds list. I would actually take a look. I mentioned my Falcon, Jalen Walker. I actually think the other first-round draft pick by the Falcons is the guy to target for Defensive Rookie of the Year. James Pierce Jr., a guy who led all rookies in pressure rate in the preseason. Nothing but glowing reviews coming out of Atlanta. He is a little bit of a hothead. We need to keep him calm and cool, or else he's going to get some untimely penalties. But in terms of just getting after the quarterback, like I said, highest pressure rate in the preseason amongst all rookie defenders. So you got to like James Pierce Jr., who's coming in at 17-1. Next on the odds list is Comeback Player of the Year, which is an award that has, the definition has changed a little bit over the past few years. Because some players have won it coming off just a bad year or a year of being a backup. We saw Geno Smith win it a couple years. He did not come back off an injury. He just was not a good quarterback. And then he went to Seattle and had a great season. They changed the definition a little bit, or at least emphasized the definition last year, saying, hey, don't vote for guys who are just bad in previous years. Vote for guys who are coming off some kind of illness or mainly injury. Which has changed things a little bit, because I know some people thought Sam Darnold was going to win last year, but because they changed how they emphasize the definition for the award, he was kind of not in the running. So that clears things up for this year. So we're going to take some guys completely just off the odds list who are just bad in seasons past. That's why you see the betting favorites are all guys who are coming off some sort of injury. Most notably, Aiden Hutchinson is the favorite, plus 270, the pass rusher for the Lions. I talked about him earlier as my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year. If he wins Defensive Player of the Year, I can guarantee he's also going to win Comeback Player of the Year. You have Christian McCaffrey at 3-1, Dak Prescott 3-1, Trevor Lawrence 5-1, JJ McCarthy 9-1. Nick Chubb would be an interesting choice at 20-1, coming off that devastating knee injury. He returned halfway through last year, but that knee was still bothering him. He's going to start the year as the Texans' starting running back with Joe Mixon sidelined for at least a couple of weeks, it looks like. And then finally, we will wrap up with a new award. People have been begging. They've been in the streets protesting. We need an award for offensive linemen, and the NFL have delivered. This year, we have a Protector of the Year, which is going to go to the best offensive lineman. I think right away we just get rid of guards. I don't think guards are going to win this award. I don't think centers are going to win this award. This award is probably going to go to an offensive tackle. It's probably going to go to a left tackle, the side that typically in a right-hand quarterback protects the blind side of their quarterback. So Penei Sewell is the betting favorite from the Detroit Lions at plus 460. Lane Johnson, 6-1, second on the odds list. Trent Williams at 7-1. If this award was around 10 years ago, Trent Williams probably would have won this award 3, 4, 5 straight seasons, but I think he's like 37 years old now. Probably a little bit too late for this award for Trent Williams. Jordan Mailata at 11-1, Joe Alt at 11-1. You kind of have to like Joe Alt at 11-1, entering, I believe, his second year now, and with Rashawn Slater, the other tackle for the Chargers, being out for the year. That offensive line, especially when it comes to protecting Justin Herbert, is going to rely on Joe Alt as their left tackle. So there you go. Those are the top favorites and some of my picks for NFL awards this year. Welcome to a segment we call Open Lines, presented by FanDuel, where we take your questions and then I use these fancy phones over here to call an expert to get an answer for you now.
Hello? Yeah. I like it. Yeah, betting.
So I did talk Offensive Rookie of the Year a little bit earlier, so let's go ahead and give Peter Dewey a call, and we'll get his take to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. All right, here we go. We're giving Peter Dewey a call now.
Perfect.
What's going on, man?
Hey, Pete, what's up?
Nothing much.
Yeah, we called you yesterday. I think I mentioned we used like an old football phone from like the 70s. Audio, surprisingly enough, sounded like it was from the 70s too, so I'm calling you the modern way with my cell phone. But we got a question from the viewer, Peter. We're looking for your best bet to win Offensive Rookie of the Year this NFL season.
Yeah, so I got one that's a little bit further down the board, but not too crazy. I like Travis Hunter at plus 1,000. I think just when you look at Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think one of the biggest things to look at is opportunity, and it's usually an award where if you have a good quarterback, they're probably going to win it. But I don't love the infrastructure for Cam Ward in Tennessee. I don't love the weapons around him. I don't love the team around him, where even if he has a pretty good year, they're not going to win too many games. And I don't know if the counting numbers will be there the way they were for Jaden Daniels last year and even Bo Nix to an extent, where you can make a really strong case that he's the best offensive rookie. And I think there's a lot of things for Travis Hunter that you can look at from last year and hopefully with Liam Cohen in there that can point to him having a big season. Obviously, they took him number 2 overall. You're not going to take somebody number 2, and I know he's going to play both sides, but he's going to have a pretty big role, I'd assume, on the offensive side of the ball. I can't imagine that they're not going to want to use him after trading up and using all that draft capital for him. You look at the Jags offense last year, we saw Brian Thomas Jr. would have been a real candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year had the 2 quarterbacks, Nix and Daniels, not had as great a seasons as they did. So we know Trevor Lawrence can make a wide receiver, a young wide receiver, look really good. And Liam Cohen's offense in Tampa Bay last year supported a gazillion receivers. I mean, Mike Evans had a 1,000-yard year. Chris Godwin was on pace for arguably the best season of his career before he got hurt. And then we saw Jalen McMillan at the end of the year really came on strong as a number 3 option. So I think there's at least 2 receivers, if not maybe three pass catchers that could be supported by a Liam Cohen offense. And I just think Travis Hunter, with the talent that he has on the outside, at plus 1,000, it's a pretty good value. And I wonder if, even though it's offensive rookie of the year, if he does do stuff on the defensive side, does that factor into voters where they want to give him one of the two awards because it's just something we've never seen before?
Now, I respect your commitment to being unbiased as a Broncos fan. Yesterday, you did not say that you said you did not like the Broncos to win the AFC West, a big plus money. Today, I'm asking about offensive rookie of the year, one of the more hyped players, especially down the odds list, RJ Harvey, the rookie running back for the Broncos. You didn't pick him either.
No, the Broncos, so Sean Payton scares me with running backs, going back to his time with the Saints. If everybody remembers the Pierre Thomas days where we had, these crazy splits where he played 3-4 running backs, and he did it with the Broncos last year. I think Harvey's the best running back they have on the roster, especially because J.K. Dobbins struggles to stay healthy. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's a pretty even split with them carries-wise. And Jaleel McLaughlin's still there, which they like him as a third-down guy and kind of a speed back. So, I think if you're looking at a running back, just the workload for Ashton Genty seems like so obvious going into this season. I just don't know where it'll be for RJ Harvey in comparison to some of these other top rookies, which is kind of why I wouldn't put him as, my best bet to win that award.
All right, there you go. Travis Hunter, then, your best bet for offensive rookie of the year, 10-1 at FanDuel. Thank you so much, Pete. Have a good one. We'll be talking.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you have it. He's on Travis Hunter. I am a little bit concerned about Travis Hunter's snap count with him playing both sides of the football, but I do kind of agree with what Peter said in that, voters might want to give him one of the two Rookie of the Year awards, maybe not both, and if they do decide he gets one of the two awards, I guess Offensive Rookie of the Year does make more sense. I told you earlier, Cam Ward, underhyped heading into this year. Peter doesn't like him either to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I feel like I'm on an island liking the Titans rookie quarterback, and because of that, maybe that's kind of sneaky, actually a fantastic bet. So I disagree with Peter. I'm still sticking with Cam Ward at 3-1, but if you want someone with a little bit of longer odds, why not bet on the Heisman winner, Travis Hunter, the two-way player for the Jacksonville Jaguars? There's nothing more electric than a college football upset. Usually I just have one upset pick, but I got two upset picks for the people for this Saturday's action, starting with the Cy-Hawk game, which is the game between Iowa and Iowa State, obviously a rivalry matchup. Not a huge underdog pick here, but I do like Iowa plus 118 in this one. I still think Iowa State, the Cyclones, got largely outplayed in week 0 when they played Kansas State in Ireland. They got the win, but if you look at some of their numbers, I don't think they deserve to get that win. Their net yards per play, I think, is around minus 2.5, but most notably, Iowa State had one of the worst run defenses in the country last season, and now they have to take on an Iowa team that is very much a run-first team. Iowa beat up on some FCS squad last week, but the running backs looked fantastic. So I think that's going to be the story of the game. I think Iowa's going to be able to run the ball on Iowa State. Like I said, not a huge upset, but you can get them at FanDuel at plus 118, odds subject to change. But it's because that's not a huge upset, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a bigger upset, and it's Western Kentucky plus 188 against Toledo, and I'm betting on Western Kentucky for one reason and one reason only, and that is their new quarterback, Maverick McIver, who is a transfer from Abilene Christian, has been electric through their first two games. 69.5% completion rate. He's thrown for 706 yards, 8 touchdowns. Count them, 8 touchdowns in 2 games, 0 interceptions. I am very high on Maverick McIver, the transfer from Abilene Christian for Western Kentucky. They are plus 198 underdogs against Toledo on Saturday. So those are my two upset picks for this weekend's college football action. We got Iowa plus 118 in the Cy-Hawk game against Iowa State, and Western Kentucky plus 198 against Toledo. It is time for my picks tonight. It is time for playing it safe. But before I give you my picks for tonight, quick recap of last night. If you see the board over there, I said I didn't want to have a negative sign, but it's a minus. So I went all in on the Reds, or put half my money on the Reds because of the Jays pitching, because of Jose Barrios, because of their bullpen. And I was right about that. They gave up, 8-9 runs? But what I didn't factor in is how good their offense is, because they still won, I think, 11-8, 11-9. So that hurt me. I also did not hit my home run pick. I did hit the other two picks I think it was Michael Lorenzen, his strikeout total, and the Mets to beat the Tigers. So 2-2, but because I put half the money on the Reds, that cost me. We're going to try to win it back and take off that minus sign after tonight. So let's head over to the safe and see what we're working with.
Yeah.
Let's take a little look-see here. Oh! We got more than one bill this time, but it's less. Maybe the people upstairs did not like that I lost money last night, so they're giving me less money to work with. But yes, once again, if you're American, it's not Monopoly money. It is Canadian money. That is $60. We got a 50 and 2 5s, so I got less money to work with tonight. All right, let's break down my picks for tonight. I'm gonna assign the dollar worth per each bet after. So let's just rip through my top 4 picks for tonight, starting in Major League Baseball. I'm looking at the Athletics against the St. Louis Cardinals. You don't call them the Oakland Athletics. Technically, they're kind of Sacramento Athletics this year. I like them minus 1-4 against the Cardinals here because you might be surprised the Athletics actually have one of the best offenses in baseball since the All-Star break. 6th in WRC+, 5th in OPS since the All-Star break. Cardinals on the other end of the spectrum, 30th in OPS since the All-Star break, 29th in WRC+. So you have quite simply one of the hottest and best offenses in baseball over the past month and a half against one of the coldest, and you're getting the Athletics as a very, very, very slight underdog. So I like that pick for my first one. We cashed in on a strikeout prop yesterday, so let's try to hit another strikeout prop today. I'm looking at Cade Povich of the Baltimore Orioles to go under 4.5 strikeouts at minus 148. The Baltimore Orioles will be taking on the San Diego Padres, who have the second lowest strikeout rate against left-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball. They have struck out at a rate of just 18.5% against left-handed pitchers this season. That number has dropped even further since the All-Star break. Strikeout percentage of just 16.4% against lefties since the All-Star break. Cade Povich also might not even last that long in this game because he kind of stinks, to be honest. 5.04 ERA on the season, so the Padres might even get him out of there quick before he even has a chance to hit the over on this strikeout total. If you want an underdog for Major League Baseball, a little bit more than a minus 104s, which is what the Athletics were, I like the Guardians. Not only from a betting perspective, but from a Blue Jays perspective, I really hope the Guardians can get the win tonight. Plus 118 against the Red Sox. We have a battle of lefties in this game with Joey Cantillo, 3.93 ERA, taking on Brennan Bernardino with a 3.08 ERA. But what's notable is that the Guardians have been significantly better when facing left-handed pitchers. Their OPS improves since the All-Star break, from 650 against right-handed pitchers to 707 against left-handed pitchers. Meanwhile, the Red Sox OPS drops. They go the other way, from 763 against righties down to 683 against lefties. So I think that adds up for the Guardians being a pretty good underdog bet tonight at plus 118. And then finally, we're switching things up. The first WNBA bet of the season. It's a game against the 2 worst teams in WNBA, but I like the Connecticut Sun as an underdog, plus 104. You can keep her 1.5 or 2.5 points, whatever the spread is. I'm going to take them to win on the money line, plus 104 against Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. I think the Sky are actually, despite having a slightly better record than the Sun, I think they're the worst team in the WNBA. Start at the top there. So the Athletics minus 104 against the Cardinals. I'm going to go $15 for that one. Athletics slight underdogs. I don't necessarily trust their pitching tonight, but I think their offense can get it over the line for us. So I'll go $15 for the Athletics. I'm going to go quarter with the next one too, which is Cade Povich under 4.5 strikeouts. Minus 148. It's a pretty big favorite, so we may not get a ton of winnings from that, but this is probably my least confident of all the plays, so I'm just going to keep it at $15 for Cade Povich as well. The Guardians are this is my biggest underdog bet of the night, so I'm going to keep it to $10 for the Guardians, so a little less than the first 2 picks, but with it being $10 at a plus 118 price point, we'll get a little bit of a kickback if that one wins. Biggest bet of the night is on that WNBA game, $20 on the Sun plus 104 against the Sky. Like I said earlier, I just think the Sun are the better team. I think the Sun should be favored in this game. The Sun just beat the Sky by 10 points 2 weeks ago. So this is my most confident play, and yes, it is an underdog bet, but I think the Sun should actually be favored. So my biggest bet of the night did not work for me last night on the Reds. Tonight, I'm hoping my biggest bet comes through. It is the Sun plus 104 on the money line.
Are you going to watch this game?
I will not. No, I'm probably going to be watching the Jays tonight, which I don't have money on. But that's maybe I'll get a second screen going so I can watch the Connecticut Sun, the two worst teams in the WNBA, play against each other. This has been Making Moves with Mac, presented by FanDuel. Grizzly Adams did have a beard, by the way, and just in case you didn't see that sign behind me. Best of luck with all your bets tonight. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back making more moves with myself. I'm Mac. Bye.